Hi, I'm Jimmy Seitz. My job takes me to many different places in the world as I film adventures to share on television. Naturally, I meet a lot of interesting people, and I've had the privilege of spending time with some very impressive individuals. What I have personally witnessed while spending time with these people can be summed up best with a Bible verse, Matthew 6:33. Seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. In other words, God can take an ordinary person and do extraordinary things. Such is the case with a man named Dick Anthony. My wife Amanda and I, along with our daughter Kristen, were invited to join Dick and 3 generations of the Anthony family on their annual fishing trip in Nestor Falls, Ontario, Canada. My objective? To capture the story of how God has worked in the life of a normal man in the automotive industry and reveal the amazing legacy that has emerged. Since Dick Anthony and his son Tom love to fish, what better way to capture the story than spending time with them at fish camp and in a boat.
We're going to do a portage, a 3/4 mile portage, and we're going to get in some boats that have been put over there already, and we're going to fish. Well, this was my dad's favorite lake. It was always too much work to me because we used to have to pick up our motor and everything and carry it in, and he wore me out. This is the adventure. All right, from here, push out, and the plane ought to be coming soon. They're here.
It's a little windy out here today.
Yeah, it is. What's up?
I'm a little bit concerned that we don't have enough gear for 6 or 7 hour fishing trip.
Ever since I was a small boy, I would come up to northern Wisconsin with my dad. He'd bring me up and we'd go fishing. My dad loved to fish muskie, and he would give me a cane pole and I'd go out and fish sunfish, bluegills, perch, and whatever I could find. Until as he got older, we had to move to bigger waters. I don't know how he got hooked up into going up into northern Wisconsin, but we went to the same camp for 12 years. There was a chain of 12 lakes that you go up little streams and fish. When they catch a muskie, and a lot of camps were that way back when I was a boy, they'd bring the muskie in and they'd ring the dinner bell. And everybody come out and look at it, and the person that caught it was kind of a hero, you know. And then what they would do is they'd feed the camp with it. After 12 years, the muskie population seemed to be down in Wisconsin. And I remember him saying, "Richard, you got to go to the big waters to catch muskie these days." So we went up to Canada. I imagine it's been, I don't know, 30, 40 years.
Really?
The first time I came in, I came in with Bev's dad. He was old and he couldn't have walked in, but we flew him in and had a great day. Had a lot of happy memories fishing with a lot of people back here.
Yeah.
But after we got married, we would come up and we'd bring my mom and dad every year, and we'd stay up 3 weeks. Sometimes we even get to stay a month, because my dad always said, "Richard, if you'll take a vacation and go fishing, of course, or what you like to do," he said, "you'll live an extra 10 years and your life, be a lot richer." So I guess that's where I picked it up. And then as our kids came along, we took them, even if they were small babies, in a cradle, and my mother was sitting in back singing "Go to Sleep, Little Baby." I know there was a movie, was it called The River Runs Through It? And I guess I'd have to say the lake, the lake runs through it, or we're in the lake together, because it's been a wonderful time. I don't think any of our family would trade it for anything. And the amazing thing is that they all want to come every year and look forward to that.
My parents have probably been coming up here for 47 years.
Well, yeah, we went to a place called Moccasin Lodge. It's on Coudray Lake in northern Wisconsin. And that was probably the best muskie fishing lake in the world back at that time. They caught the world's record there, 67.5 pounds. It was owned by Mike and Ada Sol. Both of them escaped from Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution. She had pancakes, which I got excited when I get up and find it was a pancake morning. And so when they sold it, they got older, they were up in years. Well, I asked her, would you give me that recipe? And she did.
I was 3 months old the first time I came here, and I have come every summer since. We had all 4 kids in that little cabin that has 2 bedrooms and some beds out in the kitchen, and when we slept in the kitchen, Dad would get up in the morning and do his exercises and make the delicious breakfast, and we'd all wake up to all the good smells, and I think he made extra noise just so we'd wake up and join him.
I'm not much of a cook. My son is. My wife is wonderful, wonderful cook, as was her mother. And but I found I could make pancakes.
Who's hungry for breakfast? Anybody?
Oh, absolutely.
Are there enough chairs for everyone?
Thanks for having everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're usually, the kids.
So I do that every year up here, sometimes once, sometimes twice, and at home occasionally.
I wouldn't change it for a thing because it was just the best ever, and it's still our favorite place in the whole world to come and visit.
I still actually totally love to see him driving the boat, looking out ahead, the wind blowing in his hair with a reel in his hand. So that's just Dad to me.
My great-grandfather was a fisherman. My grandfather was a muskie fisherman. My dad's a muskie fisherman, taught me everything I know. I'm a fisherman. My daughters are fisher persons. So we love to fish. It runs deep in our family.
My dad is totally in his element here.
Yeah, he loves it.
It's so much fun to watch him get excited. It was really awesome.
You can tell that he's in heaven
when he's here.
when he's here.
I love it. He's adorable.
There have always been times when we go out to an island on Lake of the Woods, and we know dozens of them where we can have campouts like that. But we usually have some great shore lunches, and Tom's become, well, he's a great shore lunch cook. He's as good as any guide that I've ever had. He usually does the cooking. I gather the wood and help out. I can open the cans. I can open a can of beans and do that pretty well, and fillet fish out. It's been vital for us. And today, especially with all the things that are crowding out relationships between people, even our grandkids, they're addicted to iPhones, iPads, and the schools are making them that way because all their lessons come home on iPad now, and they're much, much, I'll have to say, smarter than we are. I'm speaking for myself and a lot of people my age. Our grandkids show us how to do all that. But when you get away and you get up here, you get away from the TV and all of that stuff and threaten to throw their iPhones in the lake, why it just seems that then, you know, communication takes place and you learn an awful lot that brings you closer together. Just great time.
I think we're good. We're good.
We've always looked at Papa as this kind of superhero. And like, when I was really little, I pictured him like he could lift up trucks with his like strength, and Mama was this like, you know, the most
Wonder
beautiful woman in the world, and Papa was this superhero.
I'll have to say when I met Bev and I used campus, I think it was love at first sight. And I turned around and looked back to see that wonderful woman. Now after that, it was my mission to find out what her name was. And then I went to the business and economics library, and I was sitting there one day, and in she came with her girlfriends, and she sat at the other end of the room, and I remember that I scooted my chair over so that I could get a good look. And now she won't agree to this, but I think maybe she scooted her chair too. I don't know that. She hadn't confessed to this day. But she got embarrassed, I could see, and she face turned red, and she got up and she left. And I went down and I talked to her girlfriends, and they would not tell me what her real name was or what hall or where she lived or anything. But finally one of them kind of spilled the beans, and then finally I found her, and that's pretty much it. After that there was no one else that could fill the bill. She's just the girl of my dreams, and
They're the perfect couple, the cutest couple. They look out for each other. Like,
It's all centered around God.
oh yeah, it's beautiful.
we dated for 2 years. We got married right after she came back. She was Miss Indiana in the Miss Universe contest. Before she left, I figured I better get a ring on this girl's finger. Now here's a funny thing. I was out there in the Olympic trials the year before. A girl that was in the hotel where we were staying, and she was Miss Hollywood. And I had her sign her name and sent it back to Bev. So we went out to California in the Miss Universe contest. Met all the movie stars, you know, the Jeff Chandler and Fred McMurray and all those people. And what she did was sent me back their autographs to me, you know, just kidding. She got back at me big time. And so we've had a wonderful life together.
They'd always take us out, and they'd always tell us stories about like how to love each other
And sing in the car.
And so, yeah, they'd sing like Frank Sinatra in the car to each other, and they'd look each other in the eye and hold hands, and it was the cutest thing you'd ever seen.
How long have y'all been married?
It'll be 59 years coming up in
That's amazing.
October. Yeah.
Learned really neat, powerful things when we were with them, even when we were little kids.
I want
And
you to
even
know,
today.
when you have kids, your mom and I will hold hands and sing Frank Sinatra
Oh, sure.
to your kids.
Thank goodness.
I think we both were blessed by having entrepreneurial fathers. Mine was born in 1879, got married when he was 50, and I came along when he was 55. So I was raised by a man out of the 1800s. And Bev's dad had hotels, he'd had hamburger shops, he'd had storm door and window business, and he ended up in real estate. Whenever I tell him I wanted to go to a trade show or try something new, he'd say, "I'll go with you, Dick." So anything that I ever went into later on after we were married, why, he was there to cheerlead and to encourage me on. IMMI started years ago. It's when a fraternity brother of mine and also a fellow that was on the same wrestling team down at IU decided to get into business together. And back then, seat belts were being mandated by law that they had to be put in your car. You bought the belt and then you had to take it to a filling station or someplace where you could get it installed or do it yourself in your car. We dove in and got started. I knew webbings. I'd been in that business for years. I knew some buckle sources. We bought our buckles from other companies that made buckles and combined it together into kits. I think the biggest break was when we went out and talked to a fella who was a very, very successful warehouse distributor. And he said, what you need to do is take your belts, take your wares, and go to Chicago to this show. I remember he looked at me and he said, 25 years old and in the manufacturing business. And he made me feel like I was on top of the world to have that opportunity at a young age. And when we got there, we were surprised to see that there were 32 other companies producing seatbelts, and all of them are bigger than us. We just had a trunk that we took up there with our seatbelts in it, set our product out on the trunk, and had some catalog sheets, and that was our start. It took years for it really to take off. I would say probably 3 or 4 years. And I'd have to say for the first 10 years, I never drew a paycheck out of IMMI. I had another small company that my dad had, Uniform Hood Lace Company. I could make enough off of that to live, and then I could plow back into that seatbelt business, what it took to give it the resources it needed. Illinois passed a law that everybody had to have a seatbelt and they had to have them by a certain date, or else, you would be fined.
The auto accident toll in human life continues to mount until it has now reached over 1.5 million injuries each year. And the passenger in the rear seat, although subjected to the more severe crash load of 2,000 pounds, was firmly held by a seatbelt and sustained no serious injury. This, then, is a film about safety through seatbelts.
All the companies up there ran out of seatbelts, but we were making them down in Indianapolis. So we come down to work in the morning, and there'd be cars lined up wanting to buy seatbelts from us. And they would even get in fights over who was going to get in line first. Is that right? As a wild time. Now we realized when seatbelts started becoming original equipment in vehicles that we would probably not have much business because they wouldn't be sold through the aftermarket very long. But we concentrated on all of the other markets besides automobiles. But we realized in the meantime we had to do other things, which we did, many, many other things. And we changed our name to Indiana Mills and Manufacturing. After a while, we changed that to IMMI. And I think the real reason that we changed it to IMMI, we went over to Europe and other countries, and they'd see IMMI on our card, and they'd say, IMMI, IMMI, you're IMMI. And you try and tell them Indiana Mills and Manufacturing, and that just got too long. And so we started agreeing with them, we're IMMI. So we changed it to IMMI, but we refer to ourselves as IMMI now. When I became a Christian at the Billy Graham Crusade, I realized that I had everything backwards.
Now, here's a young businessman in the city. His name happens to be Dick, too. Dick Anthony. He's in the manufacturing business. People have asked Dick many times, do the people who come forward here at the invitation really last? I think Dick Anderson gave us a testimony to that effect, and I believe you've got something to say about that, too.
21 years ago, when Billy Graham came to Indianapolis the first time, I was a young man just starting out in the manufacturing business. But as I sat here this evening on this platform, that seemed like yesterday. It brought back many memories. I came to that crusade out of curiosity. I wondered what went on at the Billy Graham Crusade. And secondly, I had questions about why I was here, where I was going, what life was all about. And I thought possibly I would find the answers. Well, that evening when the invitation was given, I found myself going forward. I didn't plan that, but I went forward and I received new life in Christ. That was wonderful. I realized for the first time that I didn't have to earn that right relationship. I tried that. I couldn't do that. that Christ had already done that, and I merely needed him. Secondly, I realized for the first time I didn't have to change anything first. I could come just as I was, and Christ would make the changes. Now there have been changes, and God's still working on me, knocking off a lot of chips. But the first thing was a love and a joy and a peace that just invaded my family. I have a wonderful wife and 4 children now. Second was comfort in time of trouble. We've had a lot of problems and trials during those 21 years, but God, Christ, has been sufficient for all of them. Third was a new perspective on life. Back in '59, my business was becoming my God. My possessions were beginning to possess me. I stumbled across a verse a short time after the crusade. It was Matthew 6:33. It says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added." Now my street address at that time, my business street address, was 633 East St. Clair, just a few blocks from this arena. So I never had any difficulty remembering that verse. And I'm just excited to be here this evening. There's no place I'd rather be this side of heaven.
I was trying to be successful, make money, and I thought if I had money and a degree of, I'll say, power, I could do good things for people, and that would be pleasing to God. And I realized, when I realized it wasn't do, it was done. It wasn't try, it was trust. Apart from a feeling of freedom, of realizing I didn't have to do it to earn it, that God could do it through me, and there was just a great peace. And afterwards I had a desire to turn my business over to him. One thing I'll have to say is I've always been a hard worker, but hard work without the proper morals, ethics, and desire behind it falls flat. And many, many times I found myself praying early in the morning, God, show me how to do this. I don't know where to go. And it seemed like all of a sudden, when I had a piece of paper there, my hand would start writing so fast that it couldn't keep up with my mind. And so I became a planner instead of just a doer, and trying to put in those plans, the things that I thought would give us a long-range business that would be selling a product that would perpetuate itself and grow through the years, and by God's grace it has. I just had a different compassion for the people that worked for us and how to build a teamwork there, and we started having Bible studies very early in our business when it was only 4 or 5 people maybe that would join us. And I have a lot of young fellows come to me and ask how you have a Bible study in your business or how you do that, and I tell them it's got to all be of grace. You can't force anything. You got to live it, give them opportunities, and never play favoritism to where people say, hey, the Christians are blessed and the others are not. You grade people on their performance and what they do. But the guy that did more to help me do that time was a barber, Joe. And he had above the mirror in his barber shop, "Have you tried Jesus?" Really? And I'd sit in the chair and I'd listen to him kind of witness to these guys. So he was the first guy that I ever told that I became a Christian at Billy Graham crusade. You know what he did? He spun that chair around and said, "My God, Dick, had to be a lot of people praying for you."
There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that big boy. That is a great pipe. Isn't he pretty? Check it out. Woo!
When we started out selling seat belts to, I'll say, people like Freightliner, Peterbilt, all of the major heavy truck companies, they would buy 2 or 3 belts at a time, maybe for a month. Well, for any big company to try to do that and to do it and give them just what they wanted was not possible, but we did. And then as it grew, the trucking industry, the heavy trucks, there was never any legislation from Washington that said they had to have seat belts on them. But every one of them today has our 3-point belts on them, has airbags that blow out of the side of the seat, and all kinds of different devices to protect truckers and people that drive buses, military vehicles, fire engines, construction equipment, anything. ATVs today, which is a big field. One of our salesmen came to me and said one of the school bus companies, a major, wanted us to produce the seats for them. I said, why don't you go back and see if they'd be interested in a safety seat, a seat built with the seat belts in it. Now today we sell to most bus companies the integrated seats that we produce that are very advanced now are used on maybe 10% of the buses. And the reason is it obviously costs more to put three-point belts on a school bus seat and do it in a way that gives you protection, frontal protection, rollover protection, side impact protection. And we have spent, well, we really spent several $1 million and destroyed I don't know how many buses in our Cape facility where we crash them into a wall that can withstand the impact. And then we have cameras that film thousands of frames per second and tell us exactly what kind of experience passengers would have if they were belted or if they were unbelted. And it's been probably now, I would say, probably 10 years to get to the point of, I don't want to say perfection, you never reach perfection, but as you get to the point where we are today, where I feel like our school bus seats are safe, maybe safer, who knows, than what you experience in your car every day. But I can remember when we were just producing the lap belts with a middle-to-middle buckle of a father coming in and showing a car, convertible, turned over, upside down, and their daughter had lived, actually had very few injuries. And that was a terrific encouragement to me. Now there's a number of letters that will come in. Every day we have a video that comes over the screen. It's called IMMI News. And in that they always end by saying, serve God, save lives. And that to me is, I would say, the greatest thrill to me. It's something my son Tom put into existence. And I think that's the way our employees all feel, and they realize the tremendous importance of making a product and doing it with excellence. We have a foundation that's called Word and Deed Foundation of IMMI, but it didn't start out that way. It started out as a contribution board, and after the Billy Graham crusade, I decided that we would give 10% of our profits to charitable Christian works. And I think Billy Graham was one of the first organizations, of course, that we supported. And then Campus Crusade, Youth for Christ, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Young Life, all of these organizations, we just love to work with young people that were sharing their faith. And we also worked with the missions, Wheeler Mission and different missions, but we always wanted to be sure that the word and the deed went out together, because Christ is the answer. He has been for me, and it's for everyone.
To be a part of Word and Deed, and what a gift it is, and how they help so many spread God's word around the world. And the coolest thing, not only has he taught Tom and Susie and Betsy and Julie to be generous, but he's now doing that for you guys and doing the Word and Deed grandkids has been such a gift, and even to the point when you were in 3rd grade, Renee, and you guys got to come and speak to the board and the grandkids. You were so excited. You wanted all the grandkids to be able to give a little something for the Kodiaks so they could go down and share Christ with all the indigenous people.
To date, those kids have already raised $95,000. It's an amazing story. Today we have Renee Anthony here, and Renee's the little girl. Come on out, Renee. Will you please join me in honoring Renee Anthony, who is the little girl who has taken to carry moving forward so that these kids will already raise $95,000. And their trusting got together to provide a whole airplane.
My name is Renee Anthony, and I'm on the support of the Kodiak Plane Missionary Project. And what a cool thing that we can send money to buy a plane for the missionaries to fly out into the jungles and tell the Indians or people about Jesus, and put supplies in their back. Also, if someone is sick or hurt, they can get comfy in the plane as well. So that's why I think that we should try to buy a little Kodiak airplane. Thank you.
Through even Word and Deed grandkids, look how many people, I mean, it just started off a huge snowball with buying an airplane in 3rd grade. And, you know, Papa was a part of that. Papa and Mama just starting that for you to have that idea that I need to get all my cousins together and tell them that. So the generosity that he is
and the
just...
cool thing was that he led him through it too, because it wasn't like just writing a check for an airplane.
We all got together, had meetings.
And it was really outside of. It wasn't that, you know, Papa gave the money. It's just he gave you the start and the spark to then talk to folks. Was, for me as a dad, that was the cool part. He didn't do it for you. He helped you. He propped you up.
Yeah.
But if you think about it,
because we'd all meet at Aunt Susie's house.
For meetings.
Yeah, for our meetings. And we'd talk about the things we wanted to support. It was
like the dolphin missionary.
Yeah.
When you were little, you called her the dolphin missionary and thought she actually ministered to dolphins,
sure
but she
did.
was a dolphin trainer that became a missionary. Okay.
Tom came to me after college and he said, Dad, is there any place in business that I could start out with you? And I said, yeah. Why don't you run the Hood Lace Company, a little small company? And I said, see how you like it. And he did such a good job. So the next area that he took over was our outdoor division, which he loved. He said, I never worked a day in my life when I was there.
Yeah, you might know the boat buckle, which goes on the back of a boat and secures it to a trailer, but the cargo buckle is really a special invention.
It is. It marries a seatbelt and a ratcheting retractor together, and it really makes the job slick at tying down your equipment. Pretty simple. It's got a ratcheting retractor in it. Yep. So all you have to do is lift.
So it's a one-man job. You don't even have to worry about a bad back.
It is.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. If you do have a weak back, you just use the ratchet hand.
Okay. You can go all the way up there.
I can go all the way up. Want to push it?
Yeah. Takes her check it out.
Yeah.
And you get one workout in, at least one place.
Well,
that's pretty.
I'm kind of ate up with fishing. I'm really more of a fisherman than I am even a hunter. And early on, we developed a product called the boat buckle. And it's kind of a standard product now. It's on a lot of the major bass boats.
Well, when somebody's good at something, why, you naturally put them in the most struggling, difficult area we had. So he did such a great job that our CEO then said, can I put Tom in the child division because we have great challenges there. So he did, and he straightened that out. And of course the next move, when I'm 81 years old now, so this has been back 10 years ago, I realized I needed to get a CEO in there that could attract more people, because we're going to need more people for the expanded business that was coming our way. I said, Tom, I think you need to think about this and, take over the whole company. And Tom said, well, Dad, he said, I could be happy if I just had a fishing pole and a rifle and could go up north and live. And he said, he didn't give me a quick answer. He said, let me think about that and pray about it. Talk to Shelley. And he did, and he came back and he said, Dad, I wouldn't do it for the money or for the feeling of, success of running a big company. But if I can have a spiritual impact somehow through that, why, I'll do it. So that's how that came about. And of course, that sure delighted Dad's heart to hear that.
My dad is an amazing guy. He grew it from the ground up, and I took over when I was a younger man. And seeing my dad work as hard as he did and be as creative as he was, it was clear to me that there was no way that I was going to outwork my dad, be more creative than my dad. So I knew my job was to lead leaders. And God has blessed me with a team at IMMI that is unbelievable.
Tom and IMMI have recently been showcased on Good Morning America and Nightline as they're leading the charge in seatbelt safety for school buses.
700,000 kids ride to school each day in our 3-point seatbelts on safeguard school bus seats. But the truth of the matter is there's 24 million kids that ride to school on a yellow school bus every day. So our job has just begun, our work has just begun, and we believe that every kid for every ride should be protected.
I really had a great time being with Tom today, not only fishing and having fun out on the water, but hearing what is on his heart in terms of safety for young people, safety for everyone, but young people especially. We have 9 children, have 6 still at home, so to hear him talk about the car seats and seat belts on school buses and things that are going to make it safer for kids, that was so important to me and my family, and I appreciate what he's doing there. But also the way he's running his company and saying, yeah, I want to make things safer for people, but it's no good if I'm just saving their life. What am I doing spiritually? What's our company doing to help people understand the gospel? I really, really enjoyed getting to hear that part of it from Tom today.
Tom has heard me say many times that business is responsibility. It's not perks and money and those things. You have a responsibility and you get great joy out of seeing something.
At the end of the day, none of the things we do in business are going to matter. None of the things we acquire, none of the utility vehicles, none of the rifles, none of the trophies that we hang on our wall are going to matter at all. But what's going to matter is God's word and God's name.
Here's what Tom put in the minute he went in there. We have a mission and a creed, very Christian. But Tom said, I want that simpler so I could put it on every machine in the shop and I could communicate to everyone. I said, what is it? He said, honor God, serve people, deliver excellence, and grow profitably. Now I find myself saying that all the time. Now, the grow profitably, let's face it, that's up to God though. But there's many, many wonderful promises, 7,000 of them in the Bible that you can claim if you know them. And through the years, I've made a habit of reading the Bible through every year. And the more of those that I've discovered and claimed. Now at 81, I can see that they've come true in spite of me. Tom has said for years, Dad, I'd like you to write a book. I'd like you to write a book about your business experiences. I'd like you to leave a legacy, so to speak, and something that I can pass along with a Christian heritage to our people. And I said, Tom, that's not me. I'm not a writer.
I really, really wanted him to write a book, and I can't tell you how many people come to me and ask if Dad would spend time with them and tell them how to run a business with Christ at the center of it, how to lead a family with Christ at the center of it. And so I was after him for probably, it was years, wasn't it? to write a book, and that wasn't enough. So I thought, okay, he's not going to write, but maybe I could get somebody around to capture him. So we hired somebody.
Tom's a man that gets things done, obviously, and he walked into my office one day with a young lady, and he said, "Dad, this young lady is in the journalistic school. She graduated from down at IU." And he said, "She's just going to come in and talk to you." And he said, we'd like to write some stories, and she'll kind of interview you. It didn't work, because motivation has to be intrinsic with me.
It just wasn't organic enough.
So Tom and the kids, one Father's Day, gave me a little box.
I remember he opened it up. He didn't know what it was. Beautiful,
Oh, yeah.
beautiful wooden box.
Well, I'm wondering what in the world's in this box. I opened it up. Here's a whole bunch of little scrolls. And I said, "What in the world's this?" And my kids are all looking at me, and some of my grandkids, and I pulled it out and unrolled it, and there was a memory. And they said, "Dad, there's 365 memories in that box. You can read one every day."
It was really cool to sit down and like think about all the different things that he's done for us.
Some of them were a happy time at the time, and others were, I remember the time you stopped the car on the interstate and took the tailgate down and spanked us all because we wouldn't behave, you know. And I just thoroughly enjoyed reading through those. I got to thinking one morning, you know, I could probably write a number of stories about things that might accomplish Tom's objective, but also would be fun. I'd think about something and then I'd write a story about it. And some are childhood stories, some are high school stories, teen years, some are college stories. And then I got into business, then I got into ministry, but there was no rhyme or reason. I didn't do them sequentially. I could not get motivated to write those stories until I thought, I don't want to write about a bunch of stories that are about me. It's got to have some impact, Christian impact. I'd have a crazy title to the story first, then I'd have a Bible verse, then I'd put a reflection, and then I'd tell the story, and then I'd tell the lessons that I learned. And then sometimes, with Billy Graham's permission, I would write a quote by Billy Graham that fit the story. So anyway, I got to about 250, and we were eating breakfast one morning, and Bev's sister, who graduated from IU and in the journalistic school and has written several books, she kept saying, "I'm afraid somebody will mess this up. I'm afraid somebody will mess it up." And her husband, Jerry, came to me and said, "Dick, I think Mary Beth would really like to help put this into a book form." Bev and Mary Beth worked together to put the pictures into the book. And then she did a great job of formatting it. There may be some lessons I've learned the hard way that God has taught me that can help. I hope it passes on a legacy of Christ. I guess that's the best way that I can put it. But I think the greatest thing I could pass along is probably Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. And John 3:16. I know it will be something, I hope, that would point people to Christ and maybe put a desire in their heart to know me when this life, well, the short part of our life here on earth is gone and we're spending eternity with Him. I've a lot of times sat in prayer and thank God. I think a thankful heart is important. I'm not saying I'm the most humble person, especially when it comes to fishing, you know. But I think realizing, well, I think it was Howard Hendricks said, take your finger and plunge it into a glass of water, and then when you pull it out, what's left is the difference that you make. I'll say yourself. It's Christ to you. It's not anything else. I think it just takes a constant relationship with Christ and letting Him straighten you out when you need to be straightened out. Used to be a time, because my sport was wrestling, I was a little bit pugilistic and I got in a few fights. But it was funny, God just took that all out of my heart, and it's not there anymore. And your relationship with Christ, if you keep that close, it takes hard work, let's face it. Some people have .com businesses today you hear about, and they make it in 6 months and sell it to IBM or Google or something and make a fortune. But I met some of those guys that have made it and lost it too. And when they've got it, their riches have conquered them and destroyed them from a philosophy standpoint. So I think that's the humility. We're in a high-risk business. We're in a business where we face giants. We have for years. And yet, when you realize that it's God's business. I had a fellow tell me one time, and a big competitor, that Dick, if you don't do this and sell us this product, we'll put you out of business. You won't be here a year from then. And I said to him, I said, you won't put me out of business. God may if He wants me out, but you won't. Well, that business isn't around anymore. And I'm just saying, I just have to say, God has somehow sustained us through thick and through thin. And I pray for Tom, constantly, that give him wisdom and the same ability which I think Tom has to realize if it all disappeared tomorrow, I'd hope I could say, Lord, look what happened to your business. Be hard, I'm sure, because we get spoiled, and we are spoiled. I enjoy producing good products, the best products. I really enjoy competition, and when you're in manufacturing, you got inventory, you got people, you got sales and marketing people, you got engineering people, you got representatives, you got so many things. So I guess a person can get overwhelmed with all of the things you have to tie together. It takes persistence, patience, and just a lot of faith that God can bring you through the tough times, and He will. If you honor God, He'll honor you. He sure blessed us in spite of us.